Hi everyone, it's Bev DeBono, and I have a great technique for us today. And it is a technique that I got from a Creative Memories sketch. Now, with a sketch or with a technique, it's almost like having a recipe because you can use the same idea over and over, the same measurements over and over, but when you change the papers, they look totally different. So this is one sample of it. And this is using a combination of Scrap Happy and Picture This. And if you want to do a double page, you can. This is a fun one that can work into two sides. We're going to be doing one side tonight, and you have the measurements to do the other side. So just to show you this one, July 4th fireworks, and again, just see how pretty it comes out, and it's a different each time. So I'm going to be working on this one tonight. I'm going to be doing this page. So again, you can see how different it looks. And I'm going to tell you what you're going to need. You need an outside base paper, and that is going to be this outside edge, usually cardstock because it's much firmer. Then we're going to need an inside base, and you probably want something that's a little more tonal or doesn't have as such a bright background. If you're using a bright background, you could use it for this other section here, which is an accent piece. And then we need coordinating papers for your mats and this strip down at the bottom. Okay, so an outside base, an inner base, and then we need coordinating papers for this accent piece, the strip, and the mats. Okay, so let's get started. You're just going to need for tools your trimmer and your corner rounder. And on these classes, the technique classes, you use your own papers, which is great because then you can, scrap your stash and use up a lot of what you have. So we're going to start with the outer base. So you see I have an outer base, an inner base. I have a piece for that strip, the accent piece, a piece for my mats, and a piece for my little strip down at the bottom. So you want all of these colors to coordinate. Now, because we're going to be putting an inner base on top of an outer base, it's always a good idea to cut a frame on the inside of your base. And that way you're not putting such heavy weight on your papers. It's not one full sheet on top of another full sheet. The other reason is I take usually what I cut from the middle of here, and I can use them for mats elsewhere. I did that for this one. I cut what I cut from the inner piece of the navy, I used for the mats on the inside of that piece. So it's really a fun way to maximize more paper. So let's cut our hollow frame. And for this one, we're going to be doing a 2-inch hollow frame. The reason we're doing a 2-inch hollow frame is because this middle inner base is 11 by 11. And I'm using designer paper. I'm not using another cardstock. And I just want to give it a thicker substance to it. Otherwise, if I'm putting two designer papers together, I feel that sometimes it just gets a little flimsy. So let's get our trimmers, and we're going to cut a 2-inch hollow frame. If you have your binder clips, so if you have these little binder clips, they help us with the frames. If not, I'll be giving you the measurements based on your trimmer housing unit. So this is the housing unit where your blade is cut. When you turn it to the side, the white line here is where your blade actually cuts. And there is an inch from that line to the top and an inch from that line to the bottom. So to cut a 2-inch hollow frame, we want to put the bottom of the housing at the 3-inch mark on our trimmer. On the rails, you see the 3-inch mark, because that means the blade is going to cut at 2 inches. The same with the bottom. We want the blade to cut at 10 inches. So we're going to put the bottom of the housing at the 11-inch mark. So if you have binder clips, let's get our binder clips. Put for the top, your housing, the bottom of your housing goes to the 3-inch mark. Let's put your binder clip behind that. And for the bottom, your bottom of your housing goes to the 11-inch mark, and we're going to put a binder clip right there. So we've created almost like a little gate, and this is where the housing is allowed to cut. Okay, let's lift up our arm, put our paper at the 2-inch mark all the way to the top. Housing, bottom of the housing at the 3, press down, end at the 11, and lift up. Remember, we're not cutting all the way through. We are creating a frame. Turn your paper to the right. Again, the 2-inch mark up at the top. Start at the bottom of the housing at 3, end bottom of housing at 11. Lift up, turn to the right, paper up at the 2-inch mark, and bottom of the housing at 3, end at 11, turn to the right again, 2-inch mark, and bottom of the housing at 3, end at bottom of the housing on 11. So now you have a 2-inch hollow frame, and you have this 8x8 piece that you can use for other things. For our inner base, we are going to cut the inner base to an 11 by 11 square. So if you are using a 12-inch designer paper, all you need to do is line your paper up to the 1-inch mark on the right. Remove your binder clips. Cut all the way down one time. You're at the 1-inch mark. Turn your paper to the left, put it at the 1-inch mark, and now you can cut that. And you have now an 11 by 11 square. So let's go ahead and tape that 11 by 11 square onto your 2-inch hollow frame. And if you place it right on your 13 by 13 mat, you can see where this paper is going to line up. Because it's an 11-inch square, you're going to be coming down a 1/2 inch from the top and the bottom, and a 1/2 inch in from each side. And you can actually see where your paper is going to line up using your 13 by 13 mat. So let's go and tape this. Remember, you only tape the outside edge. A lot of times we're so used to putting tape in the middle, but there is no middle now. So don't put tape in the middle. You'll be putting tape on your mat. I have done that. Oh, it goes this way. Okay, so center it right in the middle of your outer frame that has the 2-inch hollow frame. And there you go. Now we're going to need an accent piece. And this accent piece is going to be 6 inches by 10 inches. 6 inches by 10 inches. So go ahead and cut your paper at a 6-inch mark if you're using a 12 by 12 or a scrap or whatever, just cut it at the 6-inch mark and turn and cut at the 10-inch mark. This one happened to be a scrap that I had from another class, and it was the perfect size. Okay, so what we're going to do with this is we're going to corner round just the top edges, just the top 2 edges. Okay, so we're going to place the top, one of the top edges in our corner rounder. And I'm using a directional pattern, so I want to make sure it's in the right direction. Okay, and now we are going to tape that down on top of the inner base. And now that's going to be at the 1-inch mark from the left-hand side. So you see the 1-inch mark on your 13 by 13 mat. So the 1-inch mark on your left-hand side. This is a really quick and easy one to do, but it just has so many, I don't know, it just looks so nice. Okay, so you see what we're doing is we're building. It's the 1/2 inch in, 1/2 inch in, you know, 1/2 inch in. So you see that we're creating some continuity there with the edges. Okay, now our next piece is going to be the piece that the strip that is an accent strip that's going to go across the bottom. And this is going to measure a 1/2 inch by 11 inches. And the reason it's 11 inches is because it's going to just go on the edges of our inner base. So we don't want it extending out like that. We want it to match your inner base. So whatever you're using, it's 1.5 inches. So this is 1.5 inches. And then we want to turn it and cut this down to 11 inches. 11 inches. Okay, and now we are going to attach that to our bottom, and that's going to be at the 1-inch mark going up. So we see we're using the same line markings from the side to the bottom and top. And I see that this is just off by a smidge, so I'm going to just trim it with my scissor just a little bit to get it exactly at that 11 inches. Okay, so go ahead and take that down. And if you're wondering what collections I'm using, this is a, I always like to mix and match my collections depending on the paper. So I've got Scrap Happy, I've got the National Scrapbook Day, I've got Feeling Bright in here. I just go based on what colors go together. And we're placing that strip 1 inch from the bottom. And again, you're at that, you see we got a 1/2 inch in here and a 1/2 inch up from the bottom. And now our accents are our mats. And it's good to use a solid for those. And I'm going to be using a solid, this is Island Waters. And we need 2 mats to measure 4 by 6. So cutting it at the 4-inch mark first, and then the 6-inch mark. 4-inch, and open your arm, and you have 6 inches. And now for these mats, now you don't have to take these down if you're not sure which direction your pictures are going to go in. If you think your pictures are going to be more horizontal, then, you know, you could lay them like this with another picture here, or they can go one this way, one that way, with another picture here overlapping the bottom, and maybe another picture up here. So it's kind of a flexible layout depending on how many pictures you have and what direction your pictures are going. Now I'm going to corner round all of these, and I tend to use my palm on the corner rounder. My hands, it's harder for me to hold this now and to really, I find that it just puts a little bit more tension on my wrist. So, and because I broke my wrist last year, I am using my palm, and I tend to find that it's fine. Okay, so place your mats, and your mat on your left, again, is going to be a 1/2 inch in. So you see we continue to carry through that same pattern. And the bottom piece here, this accent strip, you can go ahead and use either a sticker or a laser cut like I did for the patriotic. This was a laser border on top of that pale strip. On this one, I ended up just doing a Cricut title on top of the strip. So you have flexibility in what you want to put on top of the strip, but I find that it just gives it, it brings your eye down to the bottom by putting something on that strip. So for this particular one, I'm going to use one of the tonals. I'm going to use this squiggly orange tonal here from the tonal sticker pack, one of the first ones that came out. And I'm going to put this on first so that I know where this mat has to go. If I put my mat on first and then my accent piece is covering it, then I'm losing area where my pictures can go. So I'm going to put the accent piece on first. And this particular one happens to be a sticker. So I am just going to go side to side. And this was actually a fun way to use up this sticker, because it was a little squiggly, but it lent itself to this because I'm using some words that have a little bit of orange in it, and it just went really well with it. And then you want to cut off your excess so that it ends right at the 11-inch mark. Okay, so now you have your base of these pages, and now you know that you've got your accent piece down at the bottom. You know exactly where to place your the bottom of this mat. And again, by layering it on top of this strip and the accent piece, it brings your eye down to the bottom of the page, and it ties it all in together. So your mat is a 1/2 inch in from the next piece that you had. And we can go ahead and tape that down. And if you're not sure which direction your photos are going to be in, then by all means, don't place your mat down. And you can certainly use different sizes. You can use 4x4s on here as well. And I'm going to then just place my other mat. And I'm just looking at a 1/2 inch space in between the two mats together. And when it's on my mat side to side like this, I can kind of see where it's going to meet across from the 2 pages. And now you're ready to decorate. So I have selected titles and some big stickers. Some of these came from the National Scrapbook Day. And you're welcome to all of our products mix and match so well. So I'm putting a sun, I'm putting the words, "Here comes the sun." I'm just going to nestle that one underneath. It's important that when you're putting stickers or titles together, that you attach them, that they nestle together so that it tells a story. And then I was looking for another sunshine, and guess what? We can use the fireworks punch, which was so popular, to make a sunshine. And that is what I used to punch out this sunshine. And that was from the backing that was in the National Scrapbook Day embellishments pack. And there is the fireworks, but it looks like a fun sunshine. And I'm going to put one on the bottom here. And I'm going to add another one up at the top with a foam square under that one. Here comes the sun. And then I'm going to put another little title down at the bottom to anchor it on the bottom opposite side. So now I have something on the upper edge and something down at the bottom edge. So I'm going to put some foam squares. And this title is from Sweet Summer. So I just put all my collections together. Or I go through the collections and I just look for the paper colors that will blend together. And go ahead and add your bling or anything else that you would like to add to complete your page. And this just, again, as I said, just brings your eye down to the bottom and then creates that look. So I'll show you quick. This is the upper left, and you see the cluster, and then the bottom, and there's the cluster down at the bottom. And that was the same with the 4th of July. There were clusters up at the top, and you can put titles and that kind of a thing, as well as clusters down on the bottom. So I hope you enjoyed your technique. Let me know which one you liked the best. We have selfie camera, July 4th patriotic, or Here Comes the Sun, sunshine. Tune in to my YouTube channel. It's called Bev DeBono Designs. I have at least 80 videos up there of some fast, quick layouts and techniques. And you can subscribe, and that way you get a notification every time I post a video, which is about once a week. Okay, good night, and see you next time. Bye-bye.